After being ranked as the 8th best player in the ESPN Top 100, Kel'el Ware had a poor start to his collegiate career with the University of Oregon. The true freshman only averaged 6.5 points per game and had a difficult time giving valuable minutes to Dana Altman's program. And then after pulling out of the 2023 draft, Ware's decision to transfer to Mike Woodson's Indiana University team proved to be an excellent decision. Now in the Big Ten, Ware seems to have gotten his career back on track and has shot up draft boards, going from a projected second-round pick last year to a bona fide first-round lock in this year's upcoming draft. With his minutes over doubling, Ware now sees himself as a full-time starter, and with increased per-game averages up to 16 points, 9 rebounds, and a block and a half per game, he's one of the best collegiate bigs in the nation. As a prospect, Ware is pretty much ranked anywhere throughout the first round, apart from the mid to high lottery. I've seen him in the 20s, and I've seen him in the 10s. Personally, I can see teams taking Ware in this range as well, but I'm not sure why teams wouldn't consider him as a mid-lottery selection as well, depending on the team selecting. I think that depending on the team, Ware could see an initial impact similar to what Derek Lively has shown with the Dallas Mavericks. Since role-playing centers are difficult to come by, I could see him going to a team like the Rockets, Kings, Suns, Nuggets, or even Clippers, as they could potentially trade up to get his possible impact at a cheap contract, which is really important, with teams like OKC, Portland, or even Indiana taking him for his upside alone. So let's talk about his strengths. In terms of what he does well, Kel'el Ware's main strengths are obviously around the basket. On both ends of the floor, he ranks in the top 10 percentile on synergy for overall efficiency. He has great agility, and pairing with this 7-foot, 230-pound frame that he has, his body is something that will 100% translate to the NBA. This frame movement combo allows him to be an effective rim finisher at the collegiate level, and he's been dominating close to the glass, shooting at 70% at the rim. He's got great vertical athleticism, which allows him to catch and finish most lobs thrown his way. This is something that I think could easily translate to the NBA level, especially with more pinpoint passers across the league, especially as vertical spacing becomes increasingly trendy. Due to his frame and athleticism, he can finish both around, over, and through opposing bigs as well. In a packed paint, with this Indiana offense, he does a great job of cleaning up for putbacks and has quick enough feet to dunk off of a live rebound as well. I also think he does a great job of chasing a live in-air ball and grabbing it over defenders. And I think this is also something that will translate to the league, as he's feisty, he's competitive, and like I said, he's extremely adept at finishing close to the basket.
Maybe took one or two too many dribbles. Find some more offense against this zone. That's a good way to go right there. Kel'el by Malik Renew.
One of the things Mike Woodson said after the Army game was he has to play harder.
Yes.
Lob inside. Dumptown got free down the baseline. Lob to Ware. Able to secure it. Puts it up and in. Looking for it. Double team comes at him, but he passes out of it. And rebound. Push ahead. Renew. Lobs it.
Court. Now a real opportunity to work on some things here against Army.
How about that? Down.
Double team comes. Renew finds Ware for a chance.
Playing up to the crowd on the big stage as well. Inside to Kel'el Ware. Big fella against Indiana volleyball. Very relevant in the Big Ten.
Floater. This is insane here.
Renew lobs it out to Ware. Scovins trying to go back to Curry, and it's picked off by Malik Renew. Up to Ware.
One thing that I consider to be a major question mark for Ware is his movement in space, especially within a flowing offense. Even though he has fluid physical motion, what worries me is his positioning and spatial awareness. Sifting through the film, I saw many times where he'd be in weird spots and teammates would have to direct him towards a more optimal position, and this shows with him as a roller. For a center, it's strange that he's in the bottom 30 percentile for both volume and efficiency as a roll man, which backs up the fact that his poor movement keeps him out of effective positions for buckets off the roll. This is something that could be a big issue in the league if he doesn't clean it up, especially as the pick and roll continues to be the most popular action. I could see, depending on the franchise, he definitely could see heightened coaching and more specialized coaching that will allow him to clean up his footwork, but for now it's definitely something that's questionable since he's not placing himself in the best spots to score, and since the timing is off, the offense can sometimes be a little out of whack, with him running around the floor, a little bit aimlessly at times. Ware's three-point shooting is something that league executives can definitely get excited about. This season he's shooting 38% on about a 3.5 per game. His percentage has significantly risen from the sub-30% he shot last year, and his shooting form and confidence makes it seem like the season won't be a fluke for the most part. I don't think he'll ever be an off-the-dribble type of guy, but this demonstrated ability to stretch the floor is something that a lot of teams will likely come to value. He's shown capabilities to hit these shots when contested as well, and like I said, the mechanics show consistency in this shot. He's got solid touch on his jumpers, but often can be sticky with the ball before shooting, which kinds of gives his moves away. Overall, I think this is an area that can definitely improve at the highest level, as well as translate, especially if he falls to the right team. Ware is one of the best players in the country right now for post-up volume and efficiency, and so obviously it's something that Indiana hunts. For Ware, 40% of his shots come from the post, which will definitely be lower when he's in the league. Even though he likely won't get this many post touches at the next level, there are a lot of positives from his post-game portfolio. For one, even though the footwork and positioning is a little weird on his post fades, he gets a lot of lift, has great touch, and towers over contesters. This leads me to believe that with a little bit of tweaking to his footwork, he can knock down some post shots using more pro moves, such as a shimmy fade or even facing up to the basket. He also has a strong hook shot that will definitely translate, and like I said, he does a great job working through contact on those moves as well. So even though the footwork and volume of his post-ups is a little off, I'm pretty confident he can add things like a floater and other moves that will work better in the pros and be more suitable for coaching staffs at the NBA level. Once again, the general footwork, movement, and positioning will absolutely need to improve for Ware if he's going to be a high-level contributor on offense at this next level. As it stands, Ware's calling card is definitely defense. It's something he hangs his hat on, something he seems to care a lot about. Ware is an absolute stud defensively, especially as a rim protector. He does a great job at staying vertical and gets a slew of blocks due to his great timing. Opponents shoot an abysmal 28% at the rim, with Ware as the primary defender, and this is something to definitely be excited about with him at the next level. For the amount of time spent around the rim dealing with potential finishers, Ware's 1.8 fouls per game isn't overly concerning, I would say. He does a fairly good job of absorbing contact from larger players as well as staying with the shorter guys on drives. If Ware gets drafted in the late first round to a competitive team, defense is likely what's going to be his way into the rotation, which is great for him. I think he can be an impactful defender close to the basket right out of the gate, and I can see him contributing to a playoff team potentially right away on this end. Like I've been saying, my biggest worry for Ware is his odd movement patterns and low spatial awareness. Paired with a potentially low motor on the perimeter, he can be prone to some major defensive lapses that cause real issues. He has a tendency to gamble and sometimes get lost ball watching. I'm not entirely worried about him on the perimeter. I think it's something that he can definitely improve upon, especially given his natural athleticism. But the struggle guarding screens on the perimeter and closing out on stretch bigs is definitely something to keep an eye out for as the season progresses, and something that could have a significant impact on his draft stock. Based on everything I've laid out, I think I would project Kel'el Ware as a mid-first round talent with late lottery upside. Given that this 2024 class is quite weak, I can see a lot of teams with potential need taking a swing on the positives he's shown in his sophomore year with Indiana. Depending on how he finishes off this season with conference play and then the NCAA tournament, I can easily see him working his name up into the mid-lottery eventually. I hate to give player comps, but just for prediction's sake, I'll say that Ware is a ceiling of a high-impact role player with a floor of flaming out of the league in a few years. I could see him ranging anywhere from doing what Derek Lively's done this season to becoming anything like a James Wiseman type. Pretty high margin of error for this guy, but I tend to believe in the recent moments over his past years with Oregon.